everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're finding this channel for the very first time, please click that like and subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content here on our channel. And don't forget to check out the Fat Boy Cartel podcast on this channel as well. We're now a bit of a collaboration where we do the podcast and my videos as well, so definitely go check that out. It's just me and a group of guys having a good time over there, and those episodes air every Sunday. So tonight I want to do a quick review of AEW Dynamite that aired on Friday, May 28th, 2021, just a couple days before AEW Double or Nothing on Sunday. And so let's get into the show a little bit here. The first thing you notice on this show when it started, besides it was being on Friday for once, the show had a new camera setup and only one entrance ramp due to the expanded crowd capacity. It's the same that they use for Fight for the Fallen and other pre-pandemic daily place events. So the crowd was very hot, and that's the other thing. We had fans here. We actually had a stadium, for the most part, that was pretty full of fans. I don't think it was, like probably what it's going to be at Double or Nothing, but it was really nice to see a hot crowd. They were all very fired up to just be back at a wrestling show, and it really showed with the wrestlers here tonight as well. The show opened up with Darby Allin with Sting outside. He defeated Cesar Bononi with Peter Avalon, JD Drake, and Ryan Nemeth on the outside as well. Bononi easily overpowered Allin early on, just tossed him around the ring, and then sent Allin to the ramp on the outside before tossing him back into the ring for a 2 count. Allin countered an inverted suplex attempt into a hanging sleeper hold, but Bononi reached the ropes. He followed up with the sleeper with repeated slaps to the back of Bononi's head and the over-the-top stunner. Allin then hit the coffin drop for the quick victory. I thought before the match was kind of funny as Allin was entering the ring. He threw his jacket or whatnot, and it hit Bononi right in the face right when the camera was focused in on Bononi. So I thought that was kind of funny. After the match, Darby Allin called out Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, demanding, "Let's do this tonight," he said. Page and Sky walked out to the "You Suck" chants, and Sky told the crowd to grow up. Sky said Double or Nothing would be the end of one legend and the beginning of 2 more, speaking of Sting here. Sky and Page were about to walk off, but the wingman, Bononi's stable, attacked from behind. Page and Sky returned to the fray and locked Allin in a choke as Sky was about to Pillmanize Sting's leg, which is where he puts the leg into the steel cage, and they're going to crush his ankle. Or steel chair, I'm sorry. Put his leg in the steel chair, was going to crush his ankle. But the Dark Order ran out to make the save, and that is when JR proclaimed, the Dark Order running out like scalded dogs, which usually a scalded dog is the one that's running away, so I think JR got a little confused here. I think he was trying to say the Dark Order was running out to make the save, and Sky and Page were running like scalded dogs, but it came out kind of odd here for him. So, AEW's commentary ain't perfect either. I give Michael Cole a lot of crap, especially tonight when he said Blanca, when he's talking about who won the Bianca Belair match. So, so that happened with JR tonight. Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo weigh-in that was hosted by Paul White was up next. White, flanked by an American and British flag, pumped up the crowd and introduced the weigh-in, saying there'd be no shenanigans during this. Obviously, like a lot of contract signings and things like that. So he said he was going to maintain order. Ogogo was first, joined by the Factory. QT Marshall asked the crowd to show some respect to Ogogo. White then introduced the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, who was going to be using that name for one night only at Double or Nothing. He was joined by his trainees at the Nightmare Factory, along with Brandy, Dustin, Arn Anderson, and other family members. Cody weighed in first. This is basically your typical UFC-style weigh-in before a big fight. That's what they were going for here. I will admit I thought this went a little bit long for my taste. It kind of dragged a little bit, but I appreciate what they were going for here. Something a little bit different than your normal contract signing that's been done to death, so I'll give him that. But White actually had a hard time getting the scale to work when Cody weighed in first. He eventually called it at 218 pounds. Fireworks kept going off nearby, too. So it prompted a nice USA chant from the crowd. I don't know what was going on in Jacksonville. They said it was like, beach time or near the beach, on Memorial Day weekend. So maybe it was just in celebration of Memorial Day weekend. But the fireworks started to get so loud it almost took away from this segment a little bit. Ogogo weighed in wearing a loud pair of Union Jack briefs, and he landed at 219 pounds, exactly 1 pound heavier than Cody. I mean, what are the odds? Sounds, obviously that's probably not, the real weight. White was about to read the official ruling, but Marshall interrupted to point out Ogogo was heavier, and that meant he was going to win at Double or Nothing. I don't think it really matters there, QT. Go posed and celebrated in the corner, but then Cody did the same to a huge pop. They were kind of, trying to see who got the bigger crowd reaction here, and clearly Cody won that battle. The camera missed some of the physical activity that forcing the factory out of the ring. Somebody knocked over the weigher or the scale, whatever you call it, the crowd or the camera totally missed that moment. Cody recognized White and said he'd see everyone at Double or Nothing. So again, this went a little long. I don't know if it needed to go as long as it did, but at least they tried to make it an authentic feel to a real fight. But I think I kind of agree with my friends here on the podcast that if Anthony Ogogo hits that punch, Cody needs to take the L here. Otherwise, you're going to kill the finish. I'm hoping that Anthony Ogogo has more than just that punch in his repertoire. Otherwise, this needs to be very short. I'm still very curious to see how this is going to go at Double or Nothing. We'll see what they do moving forward. Video package hyped up Stadium Stampede. Chris Jericho, MJF, and media members spoke during the package. We were told to expect the unexpected. So we get a little bit of a preview of Stadium Stampede before the night's out, too. The cameras cut backstage to Powerhouse Hobbs brawling with Christian Cage. Both are participants in this Sunday's Casino Battle Royale, and Christian is supposed to wrestle later tonight. Christian whacked Hobbs with a bar and tackled him into boxes, cardboard boxes. I wonder if that was kind of a riff on Jericho falling on cardboard for filming the not War Games, what are they called? Blood and Guts a few weeks back. So if that's the case, that was kind of funny. Taz then joined the commentary for this next match that saw Adam Hangman Page versus Joey Janella. This is a rematch from All In back in 2018, and it was actually a pretty good little match here. The match came down to Page going for the Deadeye, but Janella rolled Page up for 2 before Page crushed Janella with a boot. Janella sent Page into the corner on a snap German before landing a diving elbow drop for a close 2 count. Page was busted open on the top of his forehead pretty badly, I might add. This looked pretty legit here. Janella went for the Death Valley driver, but Page hit a discus forearm, a pop-up powerbomb, and the buckshot lariat for the win. Like I said, pretty entertaining. I think Hangman Page and Janella have good chemistry together for sure. After the match, Taz interrupted Page's celebration and brought out Brian Cage, which I really liked how they did this here because Team Taz has this thing where Taz will get on the microphone, cause a distraction, and then from behind, the baby face in the ring gets jumped. Page was too smart for this, though. Page told Taz to shut up, and he recognized their scheme as they always do it to attack him. Page said he expected that from Team Taz, but not from Brian Cage. He thought Cage had more balls than that, but maybe they've shrunk all the way up by now. He demanded Cage face him like a man. Cage said he didn't need their help, and he'd see Page on Sunday. So this was good here. Both guys got face-to-face. They didn't really touch, and, they saved it for the end here. So I'm very proud of that. And a little bit later on, I wish they'd have done that thing where they don't, touch before the big fight at the pay-per-view. But in this case, I thought they handled it very well. We were about to see a Jon Moxley Eddie Kingston promo, but the show cut to commercial just as they began to talk. Luckily, this was a pre-taped promo, but even I was like, oh boy, that was bad. They cut to the promo and then realized, oh crap, we got to go to commercial. So after the commercial, though, we finally got the promo in its entirety here. Moxley said it was time to get serious. He said he and Kingston were a great team, and he trusts Kingston with his life. He has Kingston's back in war, and it's going to be war for the tag team championships on Sunday. The Bucks may be a more well-oiled machine, but Moxley and Kingston are pit bulls, and they're going to make the Bucks quit. Kingston said he and Moxley speak for the underdogs. When they win, maybe they'll be VPs. The pressure's coming, they said. So I really liked this promo. I thought Kingston and Moxley do a great job when they're just riffing, as Moxley said on Wrestling Observer Radio, that he just they don't go anything scripted. They just do things off the top of their head. And I'm sure there's a lot of things on the cutting room floor too, but when it feels more natural to me when they were doing this. So I really enjoyed it. And one thing I really thought really stood out to the show, there was no Young Bucks on this show. I think that really helped the show not feel just like the same old, because the Bucks are on a lot of the shows. And as much as I respect the Young Bucks, I know a lot of people don't care for them, and they have their detractors, and they definitely use super kicks a little too much. I think they are smooth in the ring, and I am very much looking forward to this match. I still hope that Kingston and Moxley take the AEW Tag Team Championships off the Young Bucks here, but we'll see what they do. With Mox just about to have a baby, I'm starting to wonder if maybe that's not going to happen, and the Young Bucks are going to retain here. Orange Cassidy responds to Kenny Omega's offer. Tony Schiavone was about to bring on Orange, but Pac interrupted. He sent Schiavone packing and said this Sunday Orange would be irrelevant. The only man with any relevance is the man who's going to beat Kenny Omega and become AEW champion. The bastard, he said. He asked Omega if he was proud of his reign and called him pathetic before calling him out. Don Callis interrupted on the big screen, calling Pac a dangerous person, a violent, aggressive, soulless sociopath. It was a distraction so Omega could hit him from behind with a cheap shot, but Pac had it scouted and taking Omega down with a running dropkick. The Good Brothers then came out and beat down Pac until Lucha Bros came out to even the odds and make the save. Omega and Pac were alone in the ring. As Omega went for the one-winged angel on Pac, Orange's music played, and he came out with the Best Friends. He pulled out a note for Omega, and inside was the shredded contract that Omega and Callis offered him to get out of the match on Sunday. Orange dropped Omega with the Orange Punch and went to pick up the AEW World Championship, but Pac stopped him and went for a powerbomb. Orange countered it and hit a second Orange Punch on Pac, leading to the freshly squeezed chance as the segment ended. Now, this, as much as I would prefer the contenders in a title match not to touch before the main event of the show, this did a good job of at least making Orange look like he could possibly win the AEW title here. I mean, because clearly the guy is very talented. I know some people don't care for his hands in the pockets gimmick or the kick to the shin stuff, but when Orange Cassidy actually turns it on, he is a great professional wrestler. And I hope that he shows that at this pay-per-view because he needs to silence some of them critics, in my opinion. But I'm sure Orange will be Orange, and I'm sure this will be a great match. All three competitors are very talented. I still feel like we're going to possibly, I hope that AEW is smart enough not to do this thing where, say, one of the contenders in the match is not pinned and then they say, oh, I didn't lose. I don't want to see that. I want to see a clear-cut winner. I don't want anybody to have an excuse like, oh, well, you didn't beat me, so we've got to do this match again. I don't want to see that in this triple threat or whatever they're calling it here. It's a three-way that we've never seen in AEW. Maybe they changed the rules and it's not exactly like a single elimination thing because Omega could potentially lose the belt without being pinned here. I would prefer like an elimination style where both of the opponents have to be pinned and there's one winner. Clear cut, no controversy about it. But we'll see what they do on Sunday. Jade Cargill was interviewed by Shivani, but quickly was interrupted by Matt Hardy, who said he'd win the Casino Battle Royal and that big changes are coming to the Hardy family offices. Mark Sterling showed up and said he's working for Cargill now. He insulted Hardy and gave him his business card. Then we had a Jade Cargill. Apparently was accompanied by Mark Sterling, and she defeated Kylan King. Both women are very tall. That's the first thing I've kind of noticed. They performed a test of strength at the start with Cargill overpowering King and dropping her with a clothesline. King went for a running crossbody, but Cargill caught her, curled her, and planted her with a power slam into a commercial break. Back from the break, Cargill kipped up and sent King into the floor. She hit King with a strong forearm and pushed her back into the ring, hitting Jaded for the easy victory. This was just a showcase here for Jade Cargill, and it was just kind of that, But again, one thing I criticize WWE's main roster for sometimes is they always have to put two stars in the ring together, and they don't actually let anybody win because they don't want anybody to lose. In this case, you put Jade Cargill against a person that I quite frankly don't think I've ever heard of before. And they gave him some offense. It wasn't a complete jobber squash match, but you have a clear-cut winner here. It's a way to build the talent, give them some wins, and make them look relevant and not actually, not have anybody get over. So I like the way AEW does this. And if you want to see the squash matches more, it's more like a darker elevation. But again, it's a good place to build the talent with wins and make them relevant and not just do 50-50 booking all the time. Or distractions or DQs or whatever that might be. Lance Archer and Jake Roberts spoke backstage. Roberts began to address Dante Martin, who could win the TNT title tonight against Miro. But Archer wanted to call out Miro instead, saying at Double or Nothing, he'd be the new TNT champion. Then we had the TNT Championship match. Miro defeated Dante Martin. I actually kind of like this. It really showed Miro's more aggressive side here. The way they should have been booking him from the start. The way WWE should have booked him the entire time they had him. And but even so, Miro gave Dante a few moments to shine in this, but in the end, it was just too much, and Dante takes the loss here. The match saw Dante looked to climb the ropes at the end here, but Miro cut him off and brought him back in the hard way with a vertical suplex. Miro followed it up with a thrust kick before calling for game over, which is his finishing move, and applying it for the submission victory in about 3 minutes. So good ending here. It made Miro look strong. After the match, Miro wouldn't release the hold because he's a dastardly heel. Lance Archer and Jake Roberts came out, but Roberts said Miro's fairy tale would be over at Double or Nothing. He told Miro to shut the F up. Miro came back and told Roberts to shut up, ready for a fight. And Archer came in and went for a chokeslam. They brawled with Roberts narrating, with Archer getting the better of it at the end of the segment before they were broken up by officials. This is kind of another one of those deals where I wish they wouldn't have touched. And another thing about Lance Archer, too, that I criticized WWE for, so I'm going to criticize it here. Lance Archer used to be a heel, and all of a sudden he just kind of started showing respect towards Sting, and all of a sudden he's just kind of, I don't know if he's a bit of a tweener or what it is here, but Miro's clearly the heel, so I'm guessing Lance Archer is going to be the babyface in this feud. I'm not going to lie, I don't understand why all of a sudden the change. I don't recall the storyline where he just became the babyface all of a sudden. Of course, obviously Jake's not a babyface. So I got a feeling at some point Lance Archer is probably going to break away from Jake Roberts here at some point. So I'm sure it'll be a great match for the TNT title at Double or Nothing, but I could have done without them touching here. But at least in this case, they barely touched. It wasn't much of, it was just a bit of a scrum, and then officials broke it up. So it's not like one guy really got the best of the other here in any big particular way. Hikaru Shida Championship Reign Anniversary Celebration. Shivani hosted this. Shida was presented with a new AEW Women's World Championship belt. It's slightly bigger than the first, which is it's not much bigger, but it definitely had much more gold on it, so that made more sense to add that and give it a little bit more of a prestigious look. So in that regard, I liked it, but it really wasn't much of a difference here. Shida said that when she won the title, there was no fans, but tonight they're here. She's proud to share this moment with them because this title is for the fans. That's when Dr. Britt Baker obviously had to interrupt here because she's her challenger on Sunday. She congratulated Shida on her reign. Baker wants to take the title back, saying she's the face of the women's division because when she wins the title on Sunday, she's going to be the face of a whole new era. Like Austin 316, this era is going to be DMD. I like the promo here, and of course the crowd was into it. They chanted along with the DMD thing. So obviously we're all predicting Britt Baker is going to win this title on Sunday and begin the era of DMD, and I think it is time for her to hold the belt. She's greatly improved on the mic and in the ring and all the above, and she's shown her toughness. She deserves this championship. During the commercial break, Sammy Guevara did his poster board message shtick he's been doing in recent weeks. Then we had Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. They defeated the Dark Order here. I thought this was actually a fun little wrestling match, to be honest. There was a spot in here where I believe the Dark Order worked, and I think it was Grayson who did the whole Scorpion line from Mortal Kombat and said, "Get over here!" And then, I think Evil Uno, catapulted I think it was, I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the two guys into Grayson here, and I thought it was really cool. They hit a combo cannonball, 450 splash for a near fall. Sky gouged the eyes to stop the run, locking Grayson in a heel hook as Page hit the Ego's Edge on Uno for the win. So this is obviously setting up, kind of giving Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page a little bit of a win here before they face Darby Allin and Sting on Sunday. So in this case, again, the Dark Order are kind of they've taken a step back, unfortunately, because of the passing of Brody Lee. Obviously, they're not going to be as high up on the card as they once were with him involved. They could eventually, but as of right now, they're kind of in this spot where they're kind of just taking some losses and getting other guys over. And I thought they did a good job of that here. Paige grabbed a mic and started speaking, but was immediately interrupted by Darby Allin, flanked by a parade of people in Sting masks. This kind of calls back to the old classic WCW thing where there was multiple Stings that came down to the ring. Allin attacked Paige as Sky effortlessly dispatched the line of Stings until a very tall one shrugged off an attack and unmasked himself, and it was Sting himself, the real Sting, and he sent Scorpio Sky packing. So again, building up the match on Sunday. There was that. Then they run down the entire card for Double or Nothing. Then we had the main event of the evening, which really wasn't a match or anything. It was more of a promo segment and setting up the possible main event for Double or Nothing. So it was called the Inner Circle Celebration, as in my picture here on the background as well. Eric Bischoff was introduced as the Master of Ceremonies. He said that 25 years ago on this very night and network, he introduced what would become maybe the greatest faction of all time, referring to the NWO with Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. He then brought out another great faction, the Inner Circle, who came out to the first full Judas entrance in a long time. All the crowd was into this. They sang the whole song. Jericho was clearly ecstatic, and it was just great to hear this crowd singing this spot that they always love to do. So it was just great to see all that. Jericho, wearing his arm cast, said, "It feels good to be surrounded by fans again." He thanked Bischoff for everything he's done. Bischoff played a video package remembering the Inner Circle's history. They were definitely playing this up. This could be the last time we see the Inner Circle, but obviously I don't think that's the case. But they definitely tried to do a good job of selling you on the fact that their team could be in jeopardy, because if they lose on Sunday, they can no longer team together. After a long Inner Circle chant, Santana spoke. He called October 2nd, 2019, the night the Inner Circle formed. They put the company on their backs through a pandemic and are now here for the return of the best fans in wrestling today. If this truly is their last dance, Santana wouldn't have it any other way. Ortiz, his partner, simply said that was beautiful. That was it. Hager didn't want highlights of the good times. He wanted the hard times that make hard men, because those are the moments that should be celebrated. Guevara said they'd been through everything together. When he quit the Inner Circle, he didn't like that at all. He's going to do everything in his power to make sure that never happens again. I wonder if Sammy might turn here. Just a thought I'm just now having. I don't know, but we'll see. Jericho said that he was hesitant at first to form a team, but because he doesn't play well with others. But with these guys, it was natural. They didn't give a damn about anyone or anything except each other and putting on great performances. At Stadium Stampede, they're going to do it again, and if they lose, they're going down in a blaze of glory. He ended it with a simple, "I love you," and they all hugged. Oh, such a touching moment. They all did their middle fingers at the camera, which is kind of their thing. But MJF interrupted on the video board. He mocked them and said he's excited for Stadium Stampede on Sunday, before revealing that Dean Malenko had been beaten up and tied to a football goalpost. Obviously, this is in reference to the fact that Jericho and Malenko were talking backstage either last week or the week before. So they got Jericho's buddy and they tied him up to the football post. He demanded they get out to the football field if they wanted to save the Iceman. The Inner Circle then ran out to save Malenko, but were ambushed by the Pinnacle. Everyone brawled, which is a big preview for what the Stadium Stampede is going to be like on Sunday. The Pinnacle maintained the advantage, though. FTR put Santana and Ortiz through tables with simultaneous stuffed piledrivers. They did this off of a bit of a ledge here that was very high up off the ground, and then they jumped off and then gave them piledrivers through tables. And it looked like, I think it was, I can't remember if it's Harwood or Wheeler. Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. One of the two guys looked like he almost lost his footing when he came off, and he was limping after this was over. This was, in my opinion, rather stupid, especially a couple days before the pay-per-view. Because, this was a very dangerous piledriver spot. Anybody could have got hurt. Santana and Ortiz or FTR could all have gotten hurt here. And I wonder if one of the members of FTR did, because he was hobbling very bad after this was over. Now, it looked okay, but it also had very high risk of landing back on the concrete ledge behind them. And this could have been very bad doing pile drivers like this. So I don't recommend this. I wouldn't do that again. That's just me. I get you're trying to, kind of come up with creative ways to use the stadium and things like that. But at the same time, it's like, be careful. I mean, that's dangerous, guys. Then MJF closed the show by saying, "When you are in the Pinnacle, you are always on top." And of course, they posed and kind of, brought the hands in and, just kind of saluted to the camera as the show went off the air, laying out the Inner Circle. So obviously, I feel like the Inner Circle is going to win at Double or Nothing here, because they got to continue this feud. And I hate to say it is kind of 50-50 booking. That is true. I would almost prefer the Inner Circle breakup, maybe by a betrayal by Sammy Guevara, or just a breakup to kind of, because let's be honest, the Inner Circle don't need to be together because they're all pretty well over on their own at this point. I think we had that conversation with the guys on one of our other reviews. And you can still do the feud with the Pinnacle maybe individually in certain aspects, and then maybe after a couple months go by or whatever, maybe the Inner Circle, now granted the stipulation is they can never team again. I don't know how you do it, but there's ways that maybe you can, come back together and fight the Inner Circle or something of that effect. I don't know. But anyway, I would hate to beat the Pinnacle right away. Now, because they've only been a faction for a little over a month now, I'd say. It hasn't been very long. So I would hate to see that happen, but I got a feeling it's going to be the Inner Circle winning here, and this feud must continue. So we'll see what they do. I got a few nitpicks here, some criticisms, but overall I think it was a pretty solid show. It wasn't the best AEW Dynamite in the world, but they're obviously saving some of their best stuff for Sunday, hopefully, and we'll see what they do at Double or Nothing. But the real question is here, what did you guys think of AEW Dynamite this week on a Friday, which will also be on Friday again next week? Comment down below. Let me know, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content here on our channel. And until our next video, guys, take care.